That all you need to go?
Good morning, sir. How are you? Sorry, I know you.
You roll away.
All right. Good morning. I appreciate your time and meeting with us this morning, sir. Give me 1 second. Is it Mr. Moses as well? All right, Mr. Moses, I'm George Sullivan. I'm the principal here at Argyles High School. Your principal. Ms. White has scheduled a campus level conference, and let me explain very quickly what that is. Campus level conference is the first step in the due process as required by the KISD board. Anytime that a student commits a serious violation, what it does is it forces us to kind of sit down, take a look at that violation, take a look at the student code of conduct to determine what the recommended consequences should be for that given violation. Even as a principal, I do not have the authority to remove a student, send to Gateway. I don't have that authority. What we do is we look at the violation and what the recommended consequence should be, and we move forward with that recommendation forward through the rest of the due process if necessary. Okay. If at any point you have any questions, please don't hesitate to kind of ask. This is kind of a two-way conversation. Okay. Do you have any questions so far? No? All right. Ms. White, if you
So
tell us
I'm
why.
wrong, a copy of the student code of conduct, because I'm gonna be referring to it, so that way you can share that, but I'll have you sign for it since it's the hard copy one. So the purpose of today's campus level conference is to review Kylan's violation of the student code of conduct for marijuana. On May 11th, I received information that Kylan had weed in his bag. So I went to Kylan's class and escorted him to the AP office, along with KISD Corporal McDonald. In the AP office, I asked Kylan if he had anything at school that he shouldn't have, and he said no. I conducted an administrative search. In his backpack, of the bottom of his bag, I located 2 cake vapes. Kylan said the vapes were not his. The substance in those vapes was tested by KISD PD and did come back positive for marijuana. Page 17 of the Student Code of Conduct, in that book right there, it states, the following offenses require removal from the regular campus and placed into a DAEP if the student commits any of the following offenses on school property or within 300 feet. Number 3, sells, gives, delivers, possesses, uses, or is under the influence of marijuana, a controlled substance, or a dangerous drug. Possession is defined on page 38 of the Student Code of Conduct as having actual or constructive control of an item, either on the student's person or in a car, locker, bag, or other article, under the actual or constructive control of the student, regardless of the student's knowledge or intent to possess the item. Campus consequences included 3 days of out-of-school suspension, and my recommendation based on this infraction and the fact that Kylan doesn't have a discipline history here at Heights is for placement at Gateway for 30 days.
All right. So, Mr. Moses, again, just to kind of summarize, what we have is one of the 3 violation that there is no tolerance for. Anything with drug, alcohols, and guns. Unfortunately, the Code of Conduct is very specific about requiring us to make that recommendation. So that's where Ms. White is kind of. Have you had an opportunity to kind of take a look at the Student Code of Conduct for that? Okay. So the recommendation again from the school is for alternative placement aligned with that Student Code of Conduct, and we have to move forward with that.
Okay, but see, that's where we have a problem.
Okay.
Where does your Student Code of Conduct talk about student athletes with their possessions in their locker? Because
I'm sorry, could you explain a little bit more?
Where does your Student Code of Conduct
Yes.
describe an athlete not in possession of their products, of their belongings? It doesn't.
No, not at all.
Right.
It doesn't separate student athletes.
Right.
It doesn't separate
Okay.
fine arts. It doesn't separate clubs.
Okay,
Yeah.
and this is being recorded for my protection.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
That's fine.
Do you have a policy at this school, just because I'm aware of certain things that go on at these schools?
Okay.
Do you have a policy at this school where students, can call in and out in this number and get paid for making claims that a student has something on their possession? Yes or no?
Yes, sir. Yes.
Okay.
It's called.
Wait, hold on. I just need a yes or no. I'm not looking for the the definition of it. It's just a yes or no question. So the other question that I have is, did you make all the parents aware of this, that this was a policy that is different at Harker Heights High School in 2023? Is that something that you made all the parents aware that you guys were doing at this school, yes or no?
Yes.
Okay. How did you make the parents aware?
Am I allowed to?
Yeah,
to
I'm
detail?
asking you a question.
Yes, sir. So it's in the student code of conduct.
That you have a policy at the school that if someone has something on their person, that you can call an anonymous call in to and get paid for making those anonymous calls. Can you show me that in the student code of conduct, please?
It's in the district. It's a district action.
Can you? So that is that something that you've disclosed to the parents, or is it just something that's in the district code of conduct? You just said it was in the student code, this code of conduct, and it's not there. So I'm asking you, how were parents made aware that you guys are practicing this at your school?
The Crime Stoppers? Are you referring to the Crime Stoppers?
I'm referring to the anonymous tip program that you
Crime
pay
Stoppers.
kids
Yes, sir.
to make an anonymous tip. Have you made the parents aware of the students that go to this school that is something that you guys are doing at this school?
Yeah, we can provide that for you.
That's not my question. And listen, I'm about respect, okay?
Yes, sir.
Now, I know you're the principal at this school. I'm a grown-ass man outside of this place, just like you are.
Yes, sir.
So I'm asking you to stop playing with me, okay? I ask you very specific. Have you,
Yes, sir.
not the district, not what's in the district, have you at this school made the parents aware that this is something that you are doing at the school?
Yes, sir.
Via how?
It is part of the communication from the district.
Okay, so at Harker Heights High School, can you please provide me with the communication that you sent to those parents?
We
Yes
can
or
provide
no?
that for you.
I'll wait.
No, sir. We'll provide that for you after the fact.
I want to
I
see
don't
the
have it,
communication that you sent me, because I haven't gotten any communication in regards to that.
Okay.
But this is something that I know that you guys are doing at the school. Okay, and it's something that you just recently, it ain't been years that you guys have been doing this. Okay, so paying kids to make anonymous
So
tips.
okay, so you want the history from the district in participation of the Crime Stopper?
No,
Yes, sir. I
no,
will provide
that's not what I said.
Well, you said that this is something that
I said that I want specifically the communication. It's just like if I sent you an email, right? I can go get that email and proof that I sent you that email, right? That's what I'm asking for. Okay.
We'll provide you with the communication that is sent out that includes the Crime Stopper and the strategies that the district allows
That
or
you've
uses.
given to the parents, not just something that the district has. Like every kid, every parent at this school got this information from the district or from you or from the administration here. That's what I'm
Communication
asking.
and disclosure. Gotcha.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Now-
and the history
I don't
of
need the
practice.
history. I want to
We'll
know.
provide you with everything.
That's
everything
fine. But specifically,
everything
I
regarding-
want the communication sent to my house, my address with my name on it, specifically.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
So I will tell you right now, sir. We'll provide you with that. Again, I know you may not want it, but we'll provide you probably more than you want in terms of the Crime Stopper within the district.
That's fine.
Because-
within the district, and I see how you keep referring back to within
yes,
the
because I don't
district
want it-
because
I don't want it to
you
be
don't want to
necessarily-
take ownership of the fact that maybe all the parents at this school was not given this information. Okay, the best fallback is the district, but not. Go ahead.
No, sir. I mean, the Crime Stopper is just one
Right.
form of. Again,
Right.
we look at you in the eye and we try. We tell you that we try to keep a drug-free, an alcohol-free, and a gun-free.
And that
environment.
sounds good, right? Words, right? Words,
so
actions.
even if we would have had-
actions mean something, right?
Even if we wouldn't have had the Crime Stopper, sir, we still go off of our students reporting.
I got
And
that.
then we
I
every
got
time,
that.
and we take every report
I got
that is
that.
made by either your son or any other student. We take those very
I
seriously.
got that.
So regardless of the Crime Stopper, regardless of the tip that was received and that process, unfortunately, again, the student code of conduct.
I know what the student code of
Okay.
conduct says, but this is where, just like I explained to Ms. Kelly, right, that you cannot show me how a student athlete is protected, because Ms. Kelly will say, well, possession is 9/10 of the law, right? Yes or no? It's just
Actual or constructive control of an item.
So,
According to the student code of conduct, I'm not referring to the student code of conduct. I'm referring to the law, and the law says possession is 9/10 of the law. Is that fair?
No, sir.
Okay. So,
but could I ask for you to explain student athlete protection?
right, that's what I'm trying to do. Possession is 9/10 of the law, okay? And so that means that according to your student code of conduct, and this is why it's important, but I got you on tape the last time we talked about this. So the student code of conduct refers to being in possession of your items at all times, right, ma'am?
Actual or constructive?
Being in control of your items, yes or no? I understand what you're saying, but again, last time I have you on tape, so I don't know why we want to go back and forth. But you said that the students here are in possession of their items at all times. This is the problem, though, okay? Students are not in their possession at all times, okay? Especially student athletes. There is a point in time when they're out practicing and training, okay, participating in the school sports where their items are left in their locker room that is not protected by this campus, okay? Wait.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, you can say that, oh, yeah, you can put on a lock on the locker, but that doesn't prevent thefts and people going into your stuff inside the locker room. Okay. Now, this was something that has been going on in the locker room for a while. Okay. But unfortunately, when you have people here, like you're here, right? And I don't want you to take my passion the wrong way. Okay. But I've dealt with Coach Edwards, okay? I've dealt with Coach Brock, okay? I've tried to reach out to Coach Humble. I've dealt with Coach Bobbitt, okay? Behind things going on in those locker rooms because my son, probably the youngest football player on the team, okay? So there's maturity issues. There's things that's going on there that I've talked to Coach Bobbitt about several times. He didn't even know that my son was the youngest boy on the team. And he didn't understand like why there were certain things I had an issue with. Like when you tell my son no and he's trying to work for something, but you're providing the same opportunity for other kids. Just like I got in contact with Coach Edwards when my son had a black eye because they were in there hazing in the is it true, Kylan, or no? Slap boxing? Yes, okay? So I got in coach with Coach Edwards. I asked Coach Edwards because there were people stealing stuff. Kylan's had money stolen out of his backpack inside the locker room, $150 some odd dollars, a day after earning it, working hard for it. And I say, what did you bring $150 to school for in the first place? But you don't expect people to rummage through your stuff. I had to come to the school and talk to another student because they accused my son of stealing stuff, right? And so therefore, guess what? I don't play that, just like I was up here real quick whenever you called me because I don't play them games. So I came up here and the student said, well, I was upset with Kylan because I let him borrow my cleats. He had them on last, but I ended up finding them. And I said, well, did you go tell the coaches or anybody that Kylan didn't steal your stuff? No. Okay. And that's what I said the last time I was here. Who fixes that? Who does right by that? So to tell me that, oh, well, Kylan, who, and I know this probably don't matter, okay, because I don't play them games, right? A student, okay, who has drugs on them, vapes, they're vaping, they're doing drugs, right? The shit would be in their system. This is the drug test that my son took in that room over there when I came here on, Thursday or Friday, okay? And there's no drugs in this system. Pass it right in front of the officer and your assistant principal, okay? There's a culture problem here inside that locker room where you guys don't want to understand, like, you're the principal. You're probably going to be back here next year. Talking to Coach Edwards, he acted like he gave a fuck, and then all of a sudden he got another job and stopped giving two shits. Coach Bobbitt wasn't here. He got the boot, but guess what? My son has been around Coach Bobbitt. We did the ball boys for years here at the high school for under Coach Bobbitt for years, and by the time he gets to high school, guess what happens? Coach Bobbitt's up out of here a year later, okay? So there's a cultural issue here at Harker Heights High School that the coaching staff, and I'm probably none of y'all want to actually address, okay? Because a child that, and I mean vaping is a major issue at the school. I know for a fact that y'all are going to start putting vape detectors in bathrooms. So when a student walks out, guess what? If the vape detector goes off, their picture goes right along with it. You would not have to do all of that if these systems was in place to actually work efficiently, but they're not. Because if a child is not in possession of their items at all time at this campus, okay, do you want to discuss that, yes or no?
Yes, I would
Okay.
love to, if given the opportunity.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so our students, and you're right, our students carry their backpacks, whether it's in locker rooms or whether it's around here. We have some that are not student athletes, and they're walking around with backpacks. Every student is given an opportunity to secure their stuff in a locker, whether it's in this building. And I know that in the locker rooms, and I'm not disagreeing with anything that you said in terms of culture. That is a different conversation in terms of some of the issues that we're seeing in the locker rooms. And I think a lot of the coaches will acknowledge, it sounds like, about the theft that is going on in the locker rooms. However, sir, what did I say wrong?
No, nothing. I'm just
okay.
shocked and amazed that
Yes.
that with that statement alone,
Yes, sir.
you don't understand how someone could put something in my son's backpack?
I'm sorry. Let me
come on, bro.
complete. Your son has access to a locker.
I
does
know.
he not?
Yes, he does. But like
Okay.
I just told you,
Does he
just like I
secure his
told,
stuff? Sir?
no, he doesn't.
Okay, so
Clearly he
theft,
doesn't.
The theft, and everything else that is happening in the teams, absolutely unacceptable.
Right.
Unacceptable. However, every single athlete is given an opportunity to secure their stuff in a locker.
Right.
So when you are asking me in regards to possession, the expectation by me, let's say me, the principal of Harker Heights High School, is that he does have possession of his, and that backpack is his responsibility all the way through the day.
Absolutely. But
Yes, sir.
as you just discussed about the theft going on, that means a lot of those lockers ain't secure. Okay? And this is what I'm saying, all right? Because I know you have a job to do, right? I'm only going to put so much energy into my son with this shit, okay? I know you have a job to do. Just like I have a job to do as a parent, right?
Yes, sir. You're
Okay.
his advocate.
So-
I'm sorry. I don't mean to be disrespectful. I don't want to disrespect you by answering incorrectly, answering out of place, and or whether it's a yes or no, or if you want me to elaborate. I apologize. I'm not trying to be funny.
So it is my job to protect my child.
Yes,
It's
sir.
like
You're
it's your
his biggest
job,
advocate.
right?
Yes,
Okay.
sir.
So when there's things going on at this school, right? Should I be reaching out to you, or should I have reached out to Coach Edwards? Which one should I have reached out to?
If it's an athletic issue, I think you did the right thing. If you don't,
How did I do the right thing when Coach Edwards clearly ain't here no more?
okay. So, sir, let's go back to again.
Waste of time.
And I'm sorry that you feel that way.
It's-
Let's go back to the nature at hand here. Those items that were found
Yes.
in your possession, unfortunately, and your question in regards to the locker rooms and the things that are going in the locker room, is that a coaching issue or is that a student not securing their stuff issue?
It's
Because I do know
a
that there is
campus issue.
I know that there is from the times that we went to school, we used to be able to leave our stuff out there and nobody would touch it.
Right.
Unfortunately, you have described now a completely different environment where we have to secure our stuff,
Right.
but we're not doing so. So I know that it is not a finger pointing issue, it's not a Coach Edwards issue, it's not a one individual, it is an issue that needs to be addressed. And again, we'll address that. However, for this particular thing, it's the possession. And there is
I
no
understand.
extenuating circumstances that I can use to excuse the possession.
Right. And I'm not asking you to excuse the possession. This is why I'm recording it, right?
sir.
Because there's nothing in this code of conduct, like I said, that protects the student athlete. Okay? You're acting like these kids are grown ass adults like you and myself. Kids make mistakes all the time. Okay? They're not the most secure. They don't understand what protecting your items actually means. But when there's kids at your school, okay, that's complaining about people smoking vapes, people stealing out of their lockers, athletes, not just regular students, athletes. They're extra exposed because a student can say, listen, I'm not going to put my stuff in my locker. I'm going to keep it on me at all times, right? But if a student was made to put something in their locker, okay, and someone doesn't put a lock on it, knows the combination or various other reasons because, they're friends, right? His friend he might have secured it. Hey, can I use your cleats? Can I get your visor? Can I use your gloves? Go ahead. Now the friend goes and unlocks the lock, doesn't lock the lock. There's a plethora of different ways but there's nothing that talks about protecting a student athlete whose locker is unlocked in the field house while the soccer kids, they take their stuff to the soccer field, okay, for a reason, because they're tired of getting their stuff stole. But when I say, like, should I have talked to you and you tell me to talk to Coach Edwards myself, bruh, he ain't even here no more. He stopped caring a long time ago. So did Coach Brock. They should have been coming to you telling you this stuff.
Maybe perhaps.
No, not a maybe, bro. Because look at the outcome.
So, sir, let's go.
Look at the outcome. There's kids that feel comfortable doing stuff and then saying like, okay, for sure, without a doubt, if I put this on you and then make a phone call, you're going to then tell me, okay, that there's no way that you're protected in that situation.
Sir, so here's the thing. If you would have reached out to me about something being stolen out of your son's locker, the first thing that I would have told you is, until we address it, until I'm able to look at it, please have him secure his stuff. It would have still been the same answer.
Yeah.
And I understand your passion, sir. I understand your passion, but I'll be very honest. Your problem with the whole system does not, unfortunately, address or assist in this specific situation.
It will.
You're absolutely.
It will.
Okay, so that's a great segue into some of the rights that you have through this entire process. So as part of this is the due process hearing procedures and parental rights of the campus level conference and district level next. Okay, the district level hearing that we must have. Like I said, I do not have the authority to actually remove a student from the campus. We have to make the recommendation based on what it says on page 17. We don't come up with the consequences or the recommendations. They go specifically from what's here. I'm not disagreeing with you, sir, and a lot of the things that you've said, unfortunately, they don't necessarily apply or assist us in this situation. Whether you spoke to Coach Edwards, which, again, let me be very, very clear. If it's an athletic issue, my expectation is that Coach Edwards addresses it. If he does not address it, then that's when I step in. Now, Coach Edwards is no longer here. I get that.
Because he was checked out. If you was going to get another job, sir,
But still, the default is, why didn't he secure his stuff?
And I just explained this to you,
yes,
right? Just like you're not perfect, right?
Maturity. So the answer to that is maturity. I get that. I get that.
He's
but
a
you
child.
Have adults.
He's
you have
a child.
Adults. You have, and you're his biggest advocate. If you don't have the influence of telling him, lock your stuff in your locker, imagine the coach's influence telling an entire team that they needed to secure their locks in the lockers to avoid sticky hands from feeling. Because you and I know that when they steal one time, they're going to steal again.
Exactly.
And what it does, it creates even more stealing. So, yes, sir, I'm not disagreeing with you. However, you and I are saying kind of the same things. We require certain actions by our students to be able to address some of those things. And again, if you are not able to advocate and influence your child, you can only imagine the challenge of the coaches. But yes, sir, if you ever have a problem where something is not being corrected or you're not getting the answers that you need, ultimately that is my responsibility.
I'm not saying that Coach Edwards didn't say something to the kids, just like Coach Bobbitt. You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying, because I know Coach Bobbitt told him to stop fighting in the locker room. Slap boxing is not cool, right? I don't know what Coach Edwards told those kids, right?
Right.
But
yes,
I do know that most people, back in February when I was telling him about this kind of stuff, that most people, if they're not checked in, they're checked out, okay? And now I see why Coach Edwards stopped calling me back. Now I see why Coach Brock just left me unread, Like now I see why calling up here, leaving voice messages, these guys never called me back. I understand now. Because they had something else that was more important than finishing the job here at Harker Heights High School with these students athletes, okay? And I'm not saying that Coach Edwards shouldn't have done. It's just the nature of the beast. That's the game that we play with this stuff. However, like I said, you're an adult. I'm sure you speed sometimes. I'm sure you do stuff that as an adult, you're not supposed to do. Does the crime outweigh? No, but that's just the nature of the beast. Just like kids, okay, if they don't understand how important it is to actually secure your items, okay, then they probably not going to secure their items like they're supposed to. Just like if you don't understand speeding doesn't get you anywhere faster, then you're probably going to speed everywhere, right?
Yes, sir.
But that's not the best thing, because when you get caught speeding, they're going to give you a ticket. You get too many tickets, they're
and then
going to
you
take your
slow down
license.
for a little while, and then you forget. I'm not disagreeing with you, sir.
I'm not
I'm
saying
not
you are.
disagreeing with you. It's just that unfortunately, again, I don't want you to feel, because I don't want you to have any regrets that you went to Coach Edwards. And
I
he
do
was
have regrets. I should have came to you.
And I understand that. I can't speak for Coach Edwards. I don't know. In February, I know that the decision for him to leave was in March. I don't know. I can't tell you that he wasn't checked out.
He was.
Okay, so I cannot
I know,
agree but or disagree. I'm not advocating for him, and I'm not defending him, and I'm not saying one way or another. All I'm saying is, sir, you had an issue in the locker room. The coaches were the first point of contact. You were right on that, but that doesn't mean that I'm out of the equation.
Not in the big equation, because I should have came to you. I should have came to you. So
But
because you're here, right?
Yes, sir. Yes,
I mean,
sir.
Unless
And-
you were leaving, then we'd be in the same situation.
Well, I don't know what comes up next week.
I know, but
I
I'm
mean,
just saying, like,
there's a
how
lot
is that
of
fair to
shop
these
around.
kids? How is that fair to these
Yes,
kids?
sir.
It's not fair to these kids. You talk about buying into a process and then believing in a process, and like I said, that's probably why Coach Edwards stopped calling me back. That's probably why Coach Brock, didn't even respond. Like, come on, bro.
Yeah, so I cannot answer for that. And I apologize, I'm not able to answer for that. But, like I said, again, just as a segue, just so that because again, I understand your passion, and I don't want that passion to cross over, and again, any type of disrespect from my part. You do have some rights, sir. And these are your parental rights through this entire process. And one of those is representation, and one of those is presenting that very information that you're presenting. Now, again, like I said, we have to move forward, make
I
the
understand
recommendation.
it's two separate entities.
Right, yes, sir.
I'm just
But-
talking about some stuff that factually happens at this high school, and you might not make it a contributing factor to how we got here, but I do, because
Yes,
as a
sir.
parent, like I tried to for the last 2 years, and even when Coach Edward was blowing my phone up last year, we need your son, please bring him up. And I was telling him no, because you told my son no, bruh. You told my son no to something. But that's nothing. What I'm saying is that I in fact know that there's things going on up here.
Yes, sir.
In basketball, football, soccer, it doesn't matter, right?
Well, it doesn't
But
even,
my
not even athletics. I mean, you mentioned it. You mentioned, again, I just don't want you to leave thinking that we are naive and everything at Heights. Sir, you mentioned, and you know that we are aggressively looking for drug, alcohols, and guns. The vape thing, it's not a Harker Heights issue. It's an
I
issue.
didn't say it's a Harker Heights issue. It's a KISD issue.
Yes, sir. But you see, yes, we are putting things in place to deter, just like we run them through the metal detectors, to deter, to let them know we're not sneaking around looking for this stuff. We are aggressively looking at. We bring dogs in. I need to be able to look at you in the eye and tell you that I am doing the best that I can based on the resources that I have to provide your son with a drug, alcohol, and gun-free environment. But you mentioned it, sir. I'm nowhere near that. It is all over. However, that does not mean that I'm once we leave, that we just sit back, and I know with the coaches, I know everything that has gone on in those locker rooms. Every time that there's a fight, every time that there's an issue that, again, very unacceptable when it comes to theft, those things get reported to our administration, and I do keep track of all those. And we are looking for ways to intervene. So I don't want you to think that when you went to Coach Edwards, that didn't mean that I was not included in the overall. Maybe not specifically about your conversation with Coach Edwards, but what's going on all the way across, not just our locker rooms.
The whole.
It's happening in our band, sir. It is happening in choir. It is happening in orchestra. It is happening all
Everywhere,
over.
I know.
So, but none of that, unfortunately, again, just to kind of keep it tight, none of that, unfortunately, kind of helps us in this situation or preventing this situation from ever happening again.
Right.
The number one way, we must secure our stuff. We must be able to say that our belongings were in our possession the entire time. And if somebody touched your stuff, I know that was part of the questioning that went on. Who would have had access to your stuff? That information needs to be also presented. I mean,
Anybody.
I mean, right.
if
Come
it's
on,
left
bro.
out, if it's left out unsupervised, absolutely.
Right.
But what I mean, you know, like your example
yes.
of some
Yes.
people having and sharing lockers and
Absolutely.
all that stuff, that can happen.
Yes.
That can happen.
Yes, just like when they put these vape detectors in these. Let me be the parent that you call up talking about my son was caught coming out the bathroom with a vape and I tell you to roll back the film. Let me see the film, because if there's more than one kid in that bathroom, how can you say it was my son that walked out of there and was the vape? But that's just.
But if we in that situation, if you mind me, because again, it's all situational.
Yes.
If that situation, he was in possession of that vape.
No. I'm saying that let me be the parent that has to hear you tell me that my son was in the bathroom and my son tells me, because you're not going to fingerprint those vapes, are you?
And I'm sorry.
I'm talking about the ones that were.
Normally, we find that vape.
No. I'm saying the ones that's in his backpack.
So right now, we don't have any detectors, but yet we go off of what we call a bathroom or some corner in this building that gets smoked out.
Yeah.
We have cameras all over.
Right.
So old school, we look at who was present. Either he has the vape, or if he was present at the time of that happening, he knows who did it.
Right.
I mean,
I'm referring to the bathrooms, but.
And I get it. In the bathrooms, we peek our heads in there, but we don't have supervision in there. That's
Right.
why a lot of fights and a lot of things happen in the bathrooms. I will tell you, we haven't had the same. I mean, the vaping, it's ridiculous in the restrooms, but the fighting is stopped in the restrooms. And a lot of it is we are actively and proactively looking and trying to put a flashlight in all of the little dark corners of this campus. But it is a big campus, sir.
Yeah.
So, and in that, again, just because you're his advocate, we have to guide our young people to do the right thing, even though they might not be, maybe perhaps, ready for it, or they trust too much. We cannot trust our teammates. Like you said,
But
we
you
cannot
don't
trust our
understand
teammates.
the magnitude of that until you actually cross that bridge and you're in this type of situation. But let's carry on, because I'm just
Yes,
making
sir.
sure that I get what I need on.
Yes, sir. So if you would read over that, I'll provide you with 2 pages.
I'll read it at the end.
Okay. So this is near the end, sir.
Okay. I'm
oh.
seeing all the stuff you got on your.
All I had was, this documentation is going to be copied and it's yours. It's the report card, is the lack of discipline history, and the attendance. And you will receive a copy of that. But the last document here, and I'll complete that while you're looking over this. Yes, I'll give you a copy of this. This is more of a checklist of how to carry out the conference, this campus level conference. Okay, so Ms. White is going to be setting up a district level hearing. That's another meeting. That's the phone number that she is going to be calling. Now she'll be setting it all up for you at a time that is convenient. It's going to be either a phone or Zoom meeting, because at that time you'll be back at school. And to mitigate the amount of academic interruption, we'll probably just pull you out of class, conference you in, and we'll have that meeting. But I won't be there. Ms. White will. And she'll present the information. She'll make the recommendation. If you read over this, you'll have kind of an opportunity of kind of understand what your rights are during that conversation with Ms. Washington. She's the only one that has the authority to make any altercations or not altercations, all
Alternative
yes.
suggestions.
Yes, based on what's happening and how the consequences are being carried out across the district. That's why there's one office for all of the district. So if you read over this,
the campus police said that there was going to be an investigation, and
So because this is illegal substance that we're dealing with, the campus police and the civil side has its own path.
okay,
And then that usually is not involved us, and that's not our lane. We don't know. This is the campus stuff.
right.
But we do have police officers that are here. So if you have any questions in regards to any of that, we can coordinate for you guys to talk and kind of get information. So for example, if it goes to the court, we don't even know when it goes to the court, or all we have is like a case number.
Right, right,
But we're not privy as to anything that goes on from that.
right. So, Mr. McDonald told me that
Yes.
you guys were going to do an investigation.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir. So
The investigation party's talking about is you said that someone had put it in his bag.
Right.
We've asked who.
Right. So, but that's a dumb question, right? Who put it in their bag? Like, that's so stupid. Like, why would we ask that? Because nobody's going to say I did it when you're in a culture of people that are stealing and lying and fighting in their locker room. Like, that's not going to happen. So, this is a felony, right? This is felony level case stuff that we're talking about in Texas, right? Okay.
don't know the level, but
It's
yes.
felony level case stuff in the state of Texas. When you have liquid, oil-based, liquid-based THC, okay, that's felony level-based stuff in the state of Texas, okay? And so that's why I'm taking this so serious, because
Yes,
we're
sir.
not talking about some pat on the wrist type shit here. We're talking about felony level stuff. And you got two of them, so that makes 2 felonies, right?
I don't know how to
Okay. Well, they compound it, so it's a little bit more serious, right? It's like capital murder versus just murder, right? But it's just what I'm asking is because Mr. McDonald said that there's going to be an investigation into it, right? And when they investigate stuff in the state of Texas that are felony level type stuff, they do a thorough investigation, and so that's why I'm asking in regards to who has the vapes. The state of Texas has the vapes. I wonder if they'll run fingerprints on it, because possession is 9/10 of the law, but you know, if your fingerprints ain't on something, if people saying, you know, like you called me and I was a little perturbed that you're like, well, we had to shake Colin to wake him up in class because he was sleeping. But the teacher said that, oh, you can put your head down because he is a athlete at this school who has to come here at 6 o'clock in the morning. And then they practice after school till 6 o'clock. So shit, he might just be a little tired, okay? Mm-hmm. However, calling me up and insinuating like, oh yeah, in fact, he was asleep. I had to shove him to wake him up. You know, sounds like, oh, you expected my son to fail this piss test. You know what I'm saying? Because the camera don't lie. I'm looking at y'all face when I bring back the piss test and y'all a little shocked, because I'm sure you expected Colin to have weed or some kind of drugs in his system because he had the THC. So this right here, okay, the fact that he passed this drug test in front of you guys will give me the opportunity but I need to find out if it's not from you guys who has it, so I can pursue this on my end as well.
So
Because the vapes, is that what you're asking?
Yes, because I want him to get
Does
fingerprinted.
police take them? I'm not, they turn them in. I'm not
But
sure.
see, I would
I don't
like
know.
to know.
Yeah,
So,
and
but
again,
y'all
we can
know.
get the-
So please.
and that's where it gets a little bit different. You know, even if they say an investigation, they don't even if we do an investigation and we have it all in hand, they have their own due process and their own paperwork.
Yeah.
And our investigation, it's a part of it, but it's not supplemental to what they have
Right.
to do, because they work off of we work off of the authority given by the student code of
Yeah.
conduct. They work off of a completely different. But we can get those answers for you.
But
Now-
this is part of why these questions that I'm asking is important to me, because I understand you guys are 3 different entities, right? So the campus police officer said that they were doing an investigation, okay? And so, but you're telling me that, well, we turn it over, they do their own investigation. Now, when I asked on Friday to clarify what that actually meant, the investigation, well, the only answer that I got is, well, we're gonna go ask the students Does anybody have a clue? And that's the extent of our investigation. But we're talking about a felony here. And so
Right.
like why I
Right,
said
sir.
is I understand just because you're the one having to deal with me,
Mm-hmm.
okay? Trust me, I understand that it is a completely separate entity, right?
Yes, sir.
But this entity represented the school on Friday, okay, and
Mm-hmm.
said that they were doing an investigation. So I'm gonna ask you, okay, or you for that information as very frequent and as often as possible because this is a felony outside of this.
Yes, sir. And
these
again,
four
please,
walls.
please, let's not make a mistake. You asking the questions, everything that we do with that understanding that we not only have to answer your questions, but we have to look at you in the eye and tell you that, we've taken every concern that you've had seriously.
Well, I wouldn't tell another parent to reach out to the head coach at the high school here. Okay, I wouldn't tell another parent that, especially if these coaches are not going to be here. Now, like you said, you don't know where you're going to be at tomorrow. But I've been doing this 17 years. We tell kids buy into the process, follow the process, buy into the process, do all the things it takes, right? But then when there's something that happens, like I said, I call Coach Edwards, you know what I'm saying? Because that's what we tell our kids to do. Make sure you reach out to the coach. If there's something that's going on, make sure you tell the coach. Make sure you tell the coach, right?
Sir.
But I can see why whenever the shit was, and I'm like, what is going on, right? I can see why. Because he was checked out, bruh. I can see why Coach Brock didn't hit me back. I was calling him after Coach Edwards, and I can see why he didn't hit me back. I can see why, bro. So February, March, April, and then here I am sitting up in your office in May. There's no protection there, bro. That's a problem. Because as a parent, reaching out to somebody that cannot actually protect or actually help or actually do something or actually has the best interest, again, I've never worked at a job that I knew I was leaving and was giving 100%, man.
Sir, sorry. But this is your copy, and that's for your copy as well. You're welcome to sign it. This is going to go on our records. But you have a copy of that letter. It's the same exact letter. And then the last form, sir, is this one. And this is what I meant by literally a checklist. A campus level conference, I'm required to follow specific processes. The offense informed you of the possible consequences, opportunity to respond. We've done that and then determined the appropriate disciplinary action based on the student code of conduct. It's not, individualized. And then provided you with a copy of the due process hearing procedures and your parental rights, and that you were present. Again, the recommendation is a 45-day placement at Gateway. 30. I apologize. Okay. 30 days at Gateway High School, voluntarily, as a witness that not that you agree or disagree with anything I've said, but that I have done the campus level conference according to board expectations. I would appreciate a signature that you vouch for me that I've done my job, but you do not have to.
And so, before I sign this, and again, this is being recorded, right? So, what are you going to do to reassure me as a parent, after what I just told you is going on, knowing my son is a student athlete, what are you going to do for me to protect my son?
Sir, I cannot guarantee anything to protect your son or any of the other kids. What we can do is continue to communicate the importance of safety, reporting if they see
I'm
something.
talking about what's going on in the locker room, in the
know,
field house. People's going through people's stuff, stealing people's stuff.
You give me a name, sir, and I will prosecute to the extent. But I am willing to bet that all of that, we may have some suspicions of who may be doing it, but we may not know who it is.
But
and
that's
it is
not
happening.
the point. The point is you should take all them student athletes and address this at one time. Let me sign this because I'll
like you said, sir,
get out of here, bro. Because y'all, your efforts are going only so far.
Like you said,
there's
sir,
a huge cultural issue.
You don't know if that hasn't already happened.
Is that not a student athlete that I can ask?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. But that is just one locker room.
I get it. But what I'm telling you is my issues that I'm having at this school in the locker room with my son, okay?
Yes, sir.
And so I'm asking you specifically about my son, what you're willing to do. He's the youngest person in the athletics program. I promise you go to 10th grade and you pull up every student in 10th grade. I promise you he is the youngest one. Now, what next year, right? He's 15 years old. How many 15-year-old juniors do you know? You don't know a lot of them, bro, because they don't hardly exist, right? So there's a maturity issue. There's issues with growth, mental, right? So like I said, he might not understand how significant and important it was. If I could have held my son back, I would have held him back, okay? But they wouldn't have let me hold him back because they say, well, he's academically sound. But he's mentally not. So there's, again, you should be willing to do something like, you know what, I'll go because I understand this is an issue. There's only 2 or 3 weeks left in school. This could possibly be a problem for your son. Maybe someone put some shit in his locker to set him up to make sure that in the 30 days he wasn't going to be here, so that way he don't get an opportunity to the same opportunity as other kids on the football team or the same opportunity as other kids in the basketball program. That's above and beyond you, right? But those are facts. And again, having you on tape, having zero answers on what you can do to reassure me that my son is not going to be, I ask him right here, but you're the teacher, his coaches, can someone else also help me out, right? Like lock your stuff up, address it, stop fighting. Like literally, what was it, 3 weeks ago, I was up here fucking dealing with somebody saying my son stole some shit from him. Okay, and then find out that, well, the item was just been misplaced, okay? But it doesn't take away the fact that this same individual ran around telling everybody that my fucking son stole some shit from him, that I got people calling me from outside the school because you don't know me personally, but bro, I've done so much stuff in this community. I know a lot of these kids. So when something happens, I really get phone calls from people all the time telling me about stuff that has pertained. When you say Moses, they know who that is, right? And so this is real life. This is stuff that's happened at this campus, right? So until Coach Humble comes along and he can get the culture and the community back, Mr. Principal, I'm asking you, okay, to please put a little bit more emphasis on your sports program, because just like the vaping, okay, has run rampant, the culture in a locker room that isn't protect your teammate, protect the shield, like y'all like to say, that's the same. It's a bad culture. You don't want that running rampant through your sports program, okay?
I'll put more emphasis into it. If you may, sir, you have like one document that's my document. This one is to cover my behind, but you'll still receive a copy of that. Sir, I will, and I'm not going to continue to consult your intelligence. There's been an emphasis, and it will continue to be an emphasis, and it will continue to be a priority. And like I said, if we do find, hold me accountable, if we do find who the culprits are, and we're just doing little slaps, because we are coming down on anybody that we find with vapes, with the wrong things on this campus, even fighting. We're not playing around. So we'll continue to maintain, and yes, to me personally, because I'm a representation of this campus, athletics is a very important point when it comes to the success. We need to maintain the success, because it has a huge impact on our community.
Yeah.
It's not lost on me. So I'm sorry that we're having the conversation under the circumstances. I really am. But
I just don't want you to think I'm just trying to blindside you with this BS, bro.
No,
because
I
I
don't think
literally
so.
did what you suggested at the beginning, was talk to Coach Edwards. But like I said, he when you're dealing with somebody who's lying to your face, bro, acting like they care, like, bro, now after, like you said, March.
So don't.
It's nothing against you, bro. I'm just saying, like, damn, bro, for real.
You don't need to trust me. I mean, We don't have that trust. We don't have that relationship that maybe perhaps you have with Coach Edwards or
Yeah.
whomever it was. I'm not asking you to trust me, because at the end of the day, we need to secure our stuff, whether it's a locker. Now, the lockers here are going to be inaccessible. That's why we're going with no backpacks.
Right.
Because we're clearing out the lockers. We're checking everything in. So no backpacks here. Starting next week, no backpacks, no access to lockers, including the locker room lockers. But when we do, we need to make sure that we're carrying our own lock, we're not sharing that number, and that we are securing our stuff at all times. Even when we go to lunch, don't leave your stuff behind. We've had people pick up the wrong backpack. That one looks like an athletic one. Right?
It is. That's
so
what I'm
very
saying.
Easily,
Right?
that could have been picked. That can be. But at the end of the day, and I understand, 15 years old. Sir, I have some 14 years old here. I mean, I got some freshmen, and
But
they
they're
are extremely
freshmen,
immature,
bro.
and they're extremely immature. But they're still told the same thing. We have
A code of
what
conduct.
I want to say is, if you who have the most influence and he knows that you have his best interest at heart, if you tell him you need to secure your stuff and he still does not, what chance do I have?
Because this is the difference, okay? And you said you have kids, right? And Miss White, right? You said you play sports, right? Most of the time, a lot of athletes, they don't listen to their parents. Their parents can have the sound advice, but you know where they're going to get their best advice from? From the coach, right?
Coach and parent.
Okay.
Yeah, it takes-
Coach
it
and
takes-
parent, right?
Yeah.
But my point is, right? So as a parent, if I expect the coach to be on my team too, okay, and that's in fact not happening because they're checked out, then my efforts went in vain. Like I said, I should have came to you instead of, but that's part of growing myself, right? Because my naivety, right? Because until I actually get to the point where I have to cross a bridge and the coach actually has to follow through with the things that they've been saying for all these years. I coached with the Harker Heights Junior Knights for years. You don't think my son's been in front of Coach Edwards for years? He has been, okay? Because it's a community partnership, right? But the point where I needed you to do something, you didn't do it. You failed me, bro. Not saying you.
No,
I'm
I
saying Coach
understand.
Edwards.
But-
and so...
But that's the part that I'm a little fuzzy, and we can, I want to honor your time, sir. Did when you said he failed him, did he not provide you with a locker?
He did, but when I say you need to secure your items, I don't even have access to that locker room to make sure that my son is securing his items. Just like if you told your child, hey, you need to wash behind your ears, but then you start seeing all these pimples. Well, you say, dude, have you been washing your face? Have you been doing proper hygiene? Say, no. Okay, well, I can see that on you. I can't go into the locker room and see that my child, his lack of maturity is representing in this locker room because your stuff is unlocked. Someone could take your stuff, okay? If you had something of value to them, right? Just because you don't have your phone all the time, just because you don't have the latest kicks, but if you did, okay, like when you had the money and they stole your stuff, if you have something of value and somebody knows that you have it, it just starts talking, and then guess what? Somebody, hey, coach, can I go to the bathroom real quick? Now they're running in the locker room, they're checking all the lockers, and they're trying to see who's stuff and going through the stuff. That's exactly what your student athletes here told me goes on in that locker room, and that's why they were frustrated with my son, because they thought because they let him use it last that it was his fault. He apologized, okay? But my point is, because I'm in sales, so like I can't come in here tripping and going crazy, right? Because now someone else might say, well, that's that motherfucker who sells houses going crazy. I'll never do business with him. So my name means something to me. What I stand for actually means something to me. What I go for and don't go for. And so again, if someone says that these things, and like I said, I tried to reach out to Coach Edwards, it's an afterthought now because he's gone. But I did multiple times call, speak. I can pull up Coach Edwards' cell phone in my phone right now if you think I'm lying, right? But I'm not.
But
okay?
I'm not saying that, and please understand that even with your conversation, the problem is not just that locker room.
No. But
The problem is even in these locker rooms.
Yes.
And I was very transparent with you. The problem is even in band.
Yeah.
The problem is even in the fine arts. And I mean, I'm not disagreeing with you, sir.
I'm not
but
saying
I understand your frustration. I really do.
all I'm saying is I did reach out to the coach, right? And we talked, and it's just, you're the principal. Like, I get that you said, hey, I could be gone tomorrow, but that's like more likely to happen with a coach, okay, than a principal. And I just wish, for my sake, that instead of, like I said, but here I am crossing this bridge now and realizing with my immaturity at 40 years old that I shouldn't have been listening to the buy into the process, go talk to the coach all this time preaching that message. I should have came and talked to the principal.
Yes, sir.
So you could do your job.
If we may set our situation aside, if I would have had a parent, not athletics, not fine arts, a parent who came in because their child got their AirPods or their cell phone stolen, I would have the same conversation, and I would have the same, again, we are trying to crack down on it, even in the building.
Yeah.
However, we have students who, and I'm not saying you, but you could probably vouch for me, we have students who are leaving their cell phones charging in the wall and going all over the place, making it extremely tempting for those that have sticky fingers. And we're in a society right now that we can't even trust our teammates, so much less in other situations. So I just want you to kind of understand, it's not that I don't care or that I have checked out.
No.
I will be here. I have a freshman, and I will be here for her graduation. I look forward to that. That provides some stability.
Right.
However, I cannot assure you, and I will never do that to you or any parent. I cannot.
Sir, can I speak for just a second?
Yes. Okay. 2 minutes. I cannot. I will never look at you in the eye and promise you something that I cannot come through for. I cannot. I would lose sleep on that. And on that one, when it comes to theft, when it comes to heck, somebody messing with your son or accusing him of theft, those are the things that we need to work together, regardless of their age, to make them understand that it is important that they make the right decisions, or they at least have that awareness that there is just no trust amongst even teammates. But I say all of that, I assure you, the locker rooms, and again, the restrooms, and even the classrooms, it is a big emphasis when it comes to theft, how they treat each other, respect towards each other, respect towards the teachers respect to the students as well. That is a major, major focus for us. Major focus for me. It is one of my core values. Okay, but I appreciate your time, sir, and I know, not the best of circumstances.
Well,
but I am here. If you have any questions or concerns, yes, do reach out to me.
Try.
Reach out to the coach. They don't answer, reach out to me.
No, I'll reach out to the principal from moving forward, because this whole Bobbitt and Edwards in the last year leaving has been a real slap in the face, bro. And like, you're an administration, but like, I'm a parent and a coach, and you tell kids all the time, like, buy into it. Kids, we go to Knights camp, kids see Coach Edwards, and when you get here, and then all of a sudden it's like, okay, now I need you to do this, because they're fighting in the locker room. My son, at the time, is 13 years old, freshman. Most of these freshmen is 15, okay? He coming home with a black eye trying to keep up with the cool guys, okay? Bro, that's a culture issue. So, but I appreciate the time. I know you got other stuff going on.
Yes, sir.